I think one of the key areas I think we struggle with is actually when you are thrust into the world of amputation, is what next?
It's hard for people, I think, to break out of the day-to-day sometimes. But every single person that I've spoken to today from Hawks has talked about how wheelchair rugby has been absolutely pivotal for them and their outlook's completely changed.
I joined the Marines when I was 17, and before that I was obviously training so I could get up to that level of joining the Marines. Throughout my time in the Marines I was always staying fit and healthy. It was part of my job, I had to. I had, it was probably like a 7-year transition of being injured to then being disabled, and it probably took me another 4 years to actually admit I was disabled from then. So I was in the Royal Marines at the time. It's not what everybody thinks. Everyone sort of assumes I've stood on something that blew up. I was in Norway. I slipped on ice. As I slipped, my foot stayed still on a piece of dry concrete, and I continued to twist round with my foot staying still. So it broke in 3 places, zigzagging up the leg. I eventually elected to have it amputated. In 2008 I was injured, 2013 it was amputated, and it was probably about 2015-16 when I really got to grips with thinking I am disabled rather than I'm just injured. Being able to do something like this, and I'm now in my mid-40s, and thinking, well, actually I can still stay fit and healthy and active, and it helps you out in life as well. And, you know, less weight on me when I stand up with my prosthetic leg on. There's less weight on my knees. You know, I'm not going to then have knee problems, hip problems, back problems. Everything refers somewhere else.
Whether you've got 1 limb, 2 limbs, 3 limbs, 4 limbs, any disability, essentially, there's a role for everyone in wheelchair rugby. I discovered wheelchair rugby and wheelchair rugby 5s, and as soon as I had a taste of it, you know, there's no looking back. And I've seen that time and time again. If you come and try the sport, you love it and you stay with it.
Coming, you know, to something like wheelchair rugby with the Limbless Association and West Country Hawks, you know, as a lawyer, it's been brilliant to sit in the chair and have a feel about what that's like, and to, you know, to experience it in some way.
We want to ensure that, no amputee need cope alone. So really having the legal team, Enable Law, supporting us, what we are doing, it's massive for the Limbless Association.
Companies like Enable Law who are not only willing to, you know, put their money where their mouth is, but they're also massively engaged. That's what I've always been, you know, really sort of impressed with ever since we started working with them. They come down to all the sessions. They really take an interest. It's not just, okay, tick a box, you know, thank you very much. And because of that, and because of that sort of proactive attitude that they brought, and their work with the Limbless Association, it's made today possible. Worst case scenario, we've had a nice day, worked up a bit of a sweat, had a bit of a giggle. Best case scenario, hopefully 1 or 2 of these players will say, hey, I want to see how far I can go with this sport, and maybe stick with it, and maybe we get a couple more members.
The purpose of Acclaim is to get the individual that's been injured and their families the access to the rehabilitation and support that they need now, but also into the future for the rest of their lives. Their prosthetic needs, their need for any further treatment, for example, to their residual limb and to the stump, their physiotherapy and what they need to have in terms of that, and occupational therapy.
My bit of advice would be, when you start off, everything hurts, everything's difficult, and the next day is going to be slightly easier. It's not easy, but it gets slightly easier. And that difficulty slowly goes away to the point where there's only a few things that are difficult to do instead of everything's difficult to do. So just bear with it. You know, keep pitching in there, take 1 day at a time, and you'll get there. Being in a wheelchair isn't sort of the end. But if you can stay active on your leg, it just makes you feel better as well, and you can do more things. The world's built at a higher height. It's not built for being down here.
No matter your situation in life, you might be sort of writing yourself off or feeling sorry for yourself, or whatever your situation is, just come down and give it a try. Find your local club, reach out to them. They'll be, you know, more than welcoming.
There's maybe a fear factor out there, but at the same time, you know, as an amputee, for all amputees, I'm the first one to say we need to be more proactive in our own welfare, because if you're waiting for somebody to give it to you, it's not going to happen.